ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨਾ ਜਾਨਾ ਨਾਹਿਨ ਨਿਰਮਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਕੈ ਅੰਚਲ ਲਾਵਹੁ ਬਿਖਮ ਨਦੀ ਜਾਇ ਤਰਣੀ ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਿਛ ਕਰਮ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਸਾਰ ਨ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸਭ ਤੇ ਵੱਡਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਕਲ ਰਾਖੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਮੈਂ ਮੂਰਖ ਕੀ ਕੇਤਕ ਬਾਤ ਹੈ ਕੋਟ ਪਰਾਧੀ ਤਰਿਆਰੇ ਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਿਨ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਪੇਖਿਆ ਸੇ ਫਿਰ ਗਰਭਾਸ ਨਾ ਪਰਿਆਰੇ तेरे जोर मैं गूंगा कहता हूँ तेरा सदका तेरी शरण। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। धन धन सतगुरु पतित पावन भगत वत्सल किरपा दे खजाने जोत रूप धन श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी की हजूरी विच बैठी गुरु खालसा साध संगत जी, we're blessed to be gathered here this evening celebrating the coming of Dhan Shri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, the first Guru of the Sikhs, the first form of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, who came to this earth to save their creation and save their creation through the Dharma of Gursikhi. On Wednesday was their Avatar Purb Divs, and through this week we've heard many Sakhiyan of Dhan Shri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. This evening we've been blessed by our Ragi Sukhvinder Singh Ji, who shared with us Aarti Artada Kirtan and sang a Shabad. So we've concentrated on the Charan of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. I've been asked in this time to share the teachings and the Mahatam of Sri Japji Sahib Ji. Sri Japji Sahib Ji, the first bani of Dhan Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Dasa Paatsahan Di Jot, the Guru of the Sikh faith, the Guru, the Satguru, who is going to save his creation because he is the form of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the Lord God, who is the giver of our life, the organizer of our life, and the deliverer of us back into themselves. Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is their form on this earth, who are here to take us out of the 84 lakh June and join us one with the Nirgun form Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Sri Japji Sahib is the Bani that was recited first by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, over their time, travelled all over the world and had many discussions with many people who, whenever they visited them, they blessed them and saved them from this summer of Kaljug. Sri Japji Sahib's Paudiyan, the Shabads, the verses of Sri Japji Sahib, are actually a collection of discussions that Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji had with the Sikhs, the various times they met them through the time they were on this earth. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji used to climb the Parbat, Sumer Parbat, the mountain in the Himalayas where the Sikhs used to stay and practice their yoga and practice gaining their occult powers, the Riddhiyan Siddhiyan, because they were practicing those as they thought they were the way to live eternally, to live forever, to find God. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, as well as travelling all over the world, saving whoever they met, ultimately saved those Sikhs by blessing them through these discussions that they had in Sri Japji Sahib. So in those times, these discussions were not necessarily in the order as we see Sri Japji Sahib today. When Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji was at Kartarpur Sahib and Sangat used to come to visit them, one time Sangat came to visit them and they met Bhai Lehna Ji. Bhai Lehna Ji, who later became the second form, the second Guru of the Sikhs, Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji. They asked Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji that in our faith we have a Bij Mantar, a Mool Mantar, we have a Gur Mantar that our Guru gives us, but we also have a Mala Mantar. We understand that in your faith you have a Bij Mantar because Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji had already travelled most of the world and they had settled at Kartarpur Sahib. And the Sangat knew that the Bij Mantar, the seed, was Ik Oankar, which is the first Shabad of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. There is one God who has no opposition, no duality, no challenger. They are only one. They're all powerful, the Almighty Lord. And they are Oankar. They are the creator of everything, everything that we can imagine and everything that we can't even imagine or contemplate yet. They are the creator, they give life, they sustain life, and then they destroy life. Oankar, that is the seed, the Bij Mantar. And then the Mool Mantar, which we've all recited together, as was given to Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji when they were Sanmukh of Akal Purkh Waheguru, and Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji then gave to their Sangat. The Gur Mantar, the Shabad that we have to recite, that is given to us by our Guru, and in this time, in this age, by the Panch Pyare Waheguru Shabad, which again we've just recited. And these Bairagis asked Bhai Lehna Ji, what is your Mala Mantar? And Sri Guru Angad Dev Sahib Ji, Bhai Lehna Sahib Ji then didn't know the answer, and they asked Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji mentioned these Paudiyan, these verses, these discussions they had with the Sikhs. And they ordered Bhai Lehna Ji to put them in this form. So starting with the Mool Mantar, which we call Pehli Paudi, and then numbering from 1 to 38, from Socha Sochna Ho Gai to Jata Pahara Tirith Sunayar, 38 Paudiyan, 38 verses, and then the final Paudi, Salok Pavan Guru Pani Pita, which is actually a total of 40 Paudiyan, 40 verses. They ordered Bhai Lehna Ji to put the order of those discussions in this form, and that would then be named as Sri Japji Sahib or Jap Nisan, as it is found in the Tatakra, as what we call the contents of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And it's there that this Bani was named the Mala Mantar. Now just simply, what is a Mala Mantar? Well, if we simply just think, when we recite Gur Mantar on a Mala or Mool Mantar on a Mala, which has those 108 manake or beads, if you do one Sri Japji Sahib da part, it's like doing one Mala of Gur Mantar or one Mala of Mool Mantar. It has the same effect. So this is our Mala Mantar. The reciter of Sri Japji Sahib again was Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. They are also said to have recited this Bani when they were Sanmukh to Akal Purkh Waheguru as well. But the first time this Bani was recited in this world, on this earth, was the discussion with the Sikhs. Sometimes we question, or we have questioned in the past, or scholars have questioned, did Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji recite Sri Japji Sahib, because it doesn't have Mahalla on there anywhere. And some Paudiyan don't finish off with Nanak Shabad. But as I've shared, this part was ordered by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji by Lena Ji to put in this form, and it was the bani that they recited. It's the first bani of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It's the first bani that Tan Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji used when they created and formalized the Khalsa Panth in 1699, and it's the first bani a Gursikh in their Amrit Vela Nitnem would recite as they have washed in the early hours of the morning. Sri Japji Sahib, which rag? So the next question we might ask, which rag is Sri Japji Sahib to be recited in or sung in? And the rags that Sri Japji Sahib is to be recited or sung in is Asa rag and Gujri rag, which are rags of the early hours or the Amrit Vele rags, and they are the rags. If you are to sing Kirtan of any of these Paudiyas, they are to be, Japji Sahib is to be sung in those rags. So what is the Mahatam? The message behind Sri Japji Sahib. Sri Japji Sahib actually gives the reciter Brahm Gyan. Brahm Gyan means the true knowledge, Gyan knowledge, Brahm God, the true knowledge of Vaheguru, the true knowledge of God. Now, preachers can sit on these stages and you can read books and you can find information about God. But that's not true knowledge of God, because true knowledge of something is when you are experiencing that something. You are there yourself. An example I always use when explaining to young children, what does true knowledge mean? For instance, if I was to describe to you a city that I've never been to, let's say if I want to describe to you what Russia was like. Now I could read a book and share with you what Russia was like, but I haven't been there, I haven't experienced it myself, so I'm only giving you second-hand information. True knowledge is when you have first-hand information. So if I had to travel there and then I can explain what the streets, what the buildings look like. So those who are Brahmagyanis or have true knowledge of Vaheguru are those who have experienced Vaheguru. In other words, they are one with Vaheguru, they are godlike, they have been taken away from the 84 lakh June and their karmas have been cleared, their actions that they might have collected in their previous lives, but they have been cleared and they are one with Vaheguru, they are godlike. And that is the greatness of our Sikhi, because in other faiths there are prophets, there are preachers who are the middle people before you reach God, and in fact you can't even reach God's stage because they take you to their level or even just below level. You have to go through them and then you don't even get to go to God's stage. But the excellence of Gursikhi and the message of Stan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, those who follow this path actually go to that level of Guruji and go to that level because they become one with Vaheguru. They are experiencing Vaheguru, and in fact Guru Sahib Ji many times over in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji say they are looking for the charan, the dust of the charan of those Gursikhs who have become one with Vaheguru. So Sri Japji Sahib, going on to the meanings of Sri Japji Sahib. Now before I give you some examples of what Sri Japji Sahib can do for us if we recite it, I'm going to just share with you one or two things what we want in this life. So in this life, as we live through our lives, some people want wealth, some people want fast cars, they want wealth, some people are just worried about their children, some people not only worry about their children and their wealth, some are a little bit further spiritually. Some people want to be liberated in this world. Some people realize that this world is false and at the end of it they want to break free from the 84 lakh June. And some people want to give sacrifice and want to be one with God while they're living, and they want to give up everything, not just their materialistic wealth but everything they have and ultimately their body in the sacrifice of Vaheguru. Now Sri Japji Sahib can answer, by reciting Sri Japji Sahib, it can answer every single one of those questions. Over time in Gursikhi, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji came, and Bhai Harinder Singh is going to share the Sakhi of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji later on when they're going to do Kirtan. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji came to this world. Satguru Nanak Pargateya Mitti Thund Jag Chanan Hoya. So that mitti, that dust, that thund, that fog has been cleared and we've got chanan, we've got light. What was that dust and what was that fog? There was a lot of falseness going on in the world. People had been led astray by false prophets. And as we know them, Pakhandi Babbe possibly, that's the word we might use. And they were led astray from God and they were adjoined to themselves. So those false prophets or false Babbe would take you away from attaining the meaning of your life, to be liberated, to be one with Vaheguru, and join you with themselves so they could develop materialistically. They could gain money from you, they could have a following, they could become famous. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji also broke away those thoughts of Jat Paat, of the caste system that were around the world, or the class system which in this side of the world was prevalent. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji also showed equality to all their creation, that all their creation, whichever caste, colour or creed, whatever gender you are, that you can attain oneness with Vaheguru. Because in other faiths, males can only reach God, or males can only recite Gurbani and females can't. So Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji bringing Guru Sikhi to this world took all that away. But as these years have passed since 1469, in these last 500 plus years, the sad thing is that ourselves in this panth, we've gone astray, and we've started following those paths again. Because in our mind, we can't make a relationship with Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. We can't make a relationship because we don't see them as the Guru. We actually, our eyes, our senses would like a physical person in our minds. We don't believe that Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji is physical as well as spiritual. We want a person, a human that we can bow down to. And many humans have come into this world and put themselves up as Guru and put themselves up as God. Some of them in those days would be nothing to do with the Guru Sikh faith. They would look totally different. But in recent times we found many that have got beards, got dastara, and they even would tell you to take Amrit, but then they're not giving you the path of Guru Sikhi. They're not adjoining you to the Guru, they're adjoining you to themselves. So they may break one thing. They may say you don't need a karpan, or you can wear a karpan in your case, something which is not really a karpan, because Pyare Bhai Daya Singh Ji, the first Panch Pyara, actually from his body didn't let a 3-foot karpan, which is this size, away from their body, from the point they took Amrit, from the point they gave the head for the rest of their life. We spend our time and we actually just wear 9 inch or 6 inches, but even worse than that, we've gone even smaller. We've lost that karpan. We're losing our kada. We're losing our gurbani. We're losing everything because we've adjoined to these false prophets who are taking us away from Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Houses or money is worthless compared to Sri Japji Sahib. The only thing that can be given to Bhai Gopala Ji is the greatest thing, is the Gurgaddi itself, the Guruship. So Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, the 6th Guru, was ready to sacrifice the Gurgaddi, showing their humbleness, their nimarta, that they weren't adjoined to this Gurgaddi. They had ego and attachment to the Gurgaddi. They were ready to give it up because they felt that this Gursikh could recite Sri Japji Sahib perfectly. And they started to get up off their throne. And as they started getting up off their throne, Bhai Gopala Ji got worried. Because Bhai Gopala Ji thought, I'm reciting this Sri Japji Sahib with trying my best, and Guru Sahib Ji is not even going to listen to it all. They're walking away. Guru Sahib Ji is standing up to say to Bhai Gopala Ji, the Gurgaddi is going to be yours. Bhai Gopala Ji in their mind are thinking, Guru Sahib Ji is not happy with me, and they're walking away. Bhai Gopala Ji in their mind also, while they were reciting Sri Japji Sahib, had a thought. Guru Sahib Ji were just given by another Guru Sikh 5 horses, which in those days cost Sawa Lakh, 125,000 rupees in that time, which was a lot of money. Even now it's a lot of money. And they had kathiyan and saddles, very expensive saddles, again worth over 1 lakh. And Bhai Gopala Ji just thought, if only I could have one of those horses. And Guru Sahib Ji, when they were obviously Guru Sahib Ji's antarjami, they know our inner thoughts. When they felt that of Bhai Gopala Ji, they sat back down on their throne. And Bhai Gopala Ji got happy because they thought Guru Sahib Ji actually isn't going, and they're going to stay sitting down. At the end of the Sri Japji Sahib, Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji said, Bhai Gopala Ji, what do you want? He said, I would like one of those horses. And Guru Sahib Ji gave him one of those horses for reciting one Sri Japji Sahib perfectly. At the same time, Guru Sahib Ji also blessed him with Gursikhi Naam Di Dat and liberated him. But the key point, the message that we're going to take away is we go to different places for materialistic wealth. And there's a Sakhi in the times of Guruji that say if you recite one Japji Sahib perfectly, you can gain whatever material wealth you want, because Guru Sahib Ji is ready to give you the Gurgaddi. And if you only want horses, or in this day and age you might want a car, you might want a house, you'll be given that. So we don't need to go anywhere else for materialistic wealth. We don't have to spend all our time working day and night, not even coming to the Guru Gar, sitting in the Sadh Sangat, repeating the name. Because if we just repeated the name, we get 2 things. We get spirituality, like Bhai Gopala Ji did, we get liberated, and we get materialistic wealth. So instead of getting 2 things, We're running around only gaining one, thinking about this life, and we're not thinking about the next life. Whereas if we spend time with Guru Sahib Ji and recite their bani over and over, we will gain not only materialistically, we will also gain spiritually, which will look after us for eternity. Then secondly, we think about our kids. And we don't want our kids, we grow them up and we look after them. We want them to follow our teachings. And if our teachings are of a Gursikhi, we don't want them to cut their hair. We want them to stay in Gursikhi. We don't want them to convert in another faith. Sometimes we have these problems in our community where other faiths are grooming or they're attacking our faith and they're converting. If we're not into Gursikhi, we want our kids maybe to develop educationally. We do cut their hair for them. We don't even give them a chance of spirituality, and we want them to be like maybe we are, or be educationally sound, and then again have good jobs. We want them to listen to us. We want them to stay in our agya. So whatever we want them to be, we want them to listen and stay in our agya. Now the Sakhi of Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji and Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji. Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji was a Gursikh who recited Sri Japji Sahib, but they were also worked for the Mughal Hukumat, basically the rulers of the time. In that time they worked for them, and they had a son called Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji. And Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, because their father worked for the Mughal rulers, would obviously be treated well. They were educated well, and their teachers from that time were actually Islamic teachers. There was a Maulvi who was a teacher, so he actually, Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, learnt all the Arabic languages as well as learning the Dunyavi Vidya. And their father, Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, even though he worked for them, he would teach his son Gursikhi. And over time, I'm not going to spend time sharing the whole Sakhi, Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji and Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji were arrested. They were arrested and put in prison and tortured. Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, because he was a Nityanemi Gursikh, reciting Sri Japji Sahib over and over, they stayed strong. But Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, a young child who also recited his Nityanem and followed his father, but at the same time had a teacher who would constantly tell him to convert and give up his Sikhi. And while he was being tortured, he couldn't possibly handle that torture. This is what history tells us. He couldn't handle that torture. And he was questioned, give up your faith, cut your hair and change to Islam, just like the Sahibzade were. And Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, being a young lad and couldn't take the torture, he agreed at one point after so much torturing. He was then taken to Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, his father, and he said to the ruler said to Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji that your son is going to convert. What's the point of you holding out? You convert as well. And Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji had bharosa in Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, because he was a Nityanemi of Sri Japji Sahib, as well as his Panjabani Nityanem, Ras and Kirtan Sola. He would recite Sri Japji Sahib over and over. And Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji said, just let me ask my son myself. And those Mughal rulers at the time didn't feel anything against that, because they thought, well, he's already admitted it, he can't take the torture. We will make sure that his son converts, and then we'll make sure he converts. Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji was put in the cell of Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji. Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji put his bharosa in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and recited one Sri Japji Sahib da Path. Just one. With his charan, he wiped the forehead of Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji. So with his charan, he wiped the forehead, because on our forehead are our actions that have been collected from our previous lives, and we live out in the hukam of Waheguru. And there was one action on there which was a mada karam, a bad action. And Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, being a spiritual person, spotted it and used his charan to wipe that bad action off Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji's forehead, which was holding him back from staying strong, just like the Chote Sahibzade did when they were being tortured and they were bricked alive. That Sri Japji Sahib helped clean that lake, that karam, that action of the forehead of Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji. Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, as they were doing it, recited Waheguru Mantra 5 times, and then after that Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji got up and said, I'm not converting. I am a Gursikh of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. I will not give up. I will give up my life, but I will not give up my Gursikhi. And both Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, we remember them in our ardas. Chadkhadiyan te chade sige. They were tied up on those big wheels and tortured till their death. They were shaheeds of the Khalsa Panth. So even there, if our children are going astray, one Sri Japji Sahib can save them. So instead of going to these false prophets, because that's what we ask for them, materialistic wealth, We ask for them to look after our children, for our children to stay in Agya. We can get all of that from Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and specifically Sri Japji Sahib. Because we might not be ready to read Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, but we should all be able to endeavour and at least learn Sri Japji Sahib and be able to recite that every day, so we can develop spiritually and all our materialistic side will be looked after. Sri Japji Sahib, if we want to describe Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, if we think, again this is my own personal vichar, my thinking when I explain to young children, if you think of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji as like a tree of knowledge, our bij, what I said earlier, bij, the seed is ek oankar, the mool mantar, which is the roots, and the roots are only found in one place after the seed. So the seed is ek oankar, the mool, the roots is the mool mantar. And if we think of the tree trunk as being Sri Japji Sahib, and the branches being all the other bani and all the other message of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, that's just my personal vichar. And if we keep that trunk strong, that tree lasts forever. So what I mean is, for us, if we develop the trunk inside of us, if we recite Sri Japji Sahib over and over, then we will stay strong, and trees can last forever. Our strength, inner strength, will be eternal. Just like Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, that will be eternal, and Bhai Sukhraj Singh Ji, that will be eternal. Now, in this day and age, like I said, scholars have started to do vichar on Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So they treat it like just a normal text. They don't believe to be Guru Sahib Ji to be our Guru, our living Guru. And they've said, well, once we've read Sri Japji Sahib once, why do we need to read it again? We've got the message, let's just read the translations. But we're not getting the effect, because Guru Sahib Ji set up this bani specifically with those sounds. So each time we recite it, we are burning our past actions and we're going closer to our Guru. And that's why it's important to recite Gurbani just as it was given to us by our Gurus. So when somebody may say to you, don't recite Bani parrot fashion, actually they have got Mande Pag. They're not really blessed, because that is the only way you're going to be saved, if you recite Sri Japji Sahib over and over. Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji, the third Guru, those of us who want to be liberated at the end of this life, we might have done bad things and we want to be liberated. Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji in Sri Govindwal Sahib, where they spent a lot of time just south of Sri Amritsar Sahib, they've made a Gurdwara, Bauli Sahib, Sri Govindwal Sahib. There's a Gurdwara that has 84 steps into the well, and Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji gave a command to the Gursikhs that those Gursikhs who do Kesi Shnan, do Ardas, and then recite one Sri Japji Sahib on each step, after each one going back down and doing Ishnan in the well and coming back out and do Sri Japji Sahib in 84 steps, your 84 Tirasi Lakh June will be broken, it'll be cut, and you will be liberated at the end of this life, or at the end at some point. So if we want to be liberated, Guru Sahib Ji has given us Sri Japji Sahib again. Now in the times of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, there was a Gursikh called Bhai Lakhu Ji. Bhai Lakhu Ji is actually been talked about or written in Bhai Gurdas Diyanwara of being a great Gursikh. Bhai Lakhu Ji was a thief actually, and he used to be a bandit and take from people. And he came into the sanctuary of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji through another Gursikh called Bhai Parana Ji, who he'd seen Bhai Parana Ji doing meditation. He'd done an ardas in front of Bhai Parana Ji that I'm going to go steal some stuff and I'll give you a percentage of it. He'd stolen some stuff off some people, gave it to Bhai Parana Ji, and Bhai Parana Ji actually gave him a sarab and cursed him and said, you'll go to hell, because this meditation is not for you to do an ardas to do wrong things. And if you want to be saved, you need to give this stuff back, and then that is the only way you'll be saved. Bhai Lakhu Ji gave that stuff back, and he was taken by Bhai Parana Ji to the sanctuary of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji blessed Bhai Lakhu Ji with Gursikhi, and Bhai Lakhu Ji used to do 21 Japji Sahibs a day. So this is what I'm saying, the effect of doing more than one. 21 Japji Sahibs every day. And he was sent to Lahore to preach Gursikhi, as Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji spent their times on this side of Punjab as we know it. Bhai Lakhu Ji used to teach everybody Sri Japji Sahib, wherever he used to go, whichever house he used to have Langar Prashada, he would only eat if the family would recite or be Nityanemis of Sri Japji Sahib. So in that bahana he would teach them Sri Japji Sahib. Then there was a Gursikh called Bhai Buddhu Ji. He came to the sanctuary of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, and he had just bought a kiln where he would make bricks, and he did an ardas benti to say that I've taken a lot of loan and a lot of karja to make for this business to work. Bless me so these bricks stay strong, they are made pakke, and so then I can sell them and then pay off my debt. Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji said, go back, to Lahore, where you come from, and feed all the Sadh Sangat. Do a langar at your house and do Sadh Sangat and feed all the Gursikhs langar. When he went back there, he fed all the Gursikhs langar. But Bhai Lakhuji came late, and Bhai Buddhuji said the langar prasada had finished, and Bhai Lakhuji was turned away. And then when the Ardasiya Singh did the ardas at the end of the Diwan, as we do now, and said in this ardas, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji bless this Gursikh that he's bought this business, that his bricks would stay pakke, would stay strong, and they'd be sold so he can pay off his debt. Bhai Lakhuji from outside said, no, they will stay kache. He said that 3 times. And in fact, when his bricks were made, they stayed kache. Now Bhai Buddhuji went back to Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji and said, why did you say when I did this prashada, my bricks would stay strong and I would be able to pay this debt? This Gursikh of yours has said 3 times, and you've listened to him, and they've stayed kache. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji said that you didn't feed all the Sangat langar, you missed him out. But because you've come back to my sanctuary and you have Shraddha on the Guru, don't worry, your bricks still will be sold, even though they will remain kache because of the bachan of a Gursikh. He's a Japji Sahib Gursikh who does Japji Sahib 21 times a day. So Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, this is how Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji described it, sits on his rasana, on his tongue. Because when you recite Sri Japji Sahib, Guru Sahib Ji, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji become one with you. You become one with the Lord, you become Brahm Gyanis. So being a Brahm Gyani, when we hear this word, or being a Sant, it's not just special people that can reach. Everybody has that opportunity. We can all, everybody sat in this Sangat, if we're blessed by Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, we can all become that. We can all go to that stage, but we must recite Gurbani, Sri Japji Sahib Ji over and over, just like Bhai Lakhuji did, and they're described in Bhai Gurdas Tewara as being a Brahm Gyani Gursikh. So Bhai Lakhuji reciting 21 Japji Sahibs over and over. And then in the time of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, we just celebrated in the previous week the Shahidi of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. But before Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji gave their cease, 3 Gursikhs gave their life as well. So if you want to look, if you want materialistic wealth, you get that with Sri Japji Sahib. If you want your kids to stay in your Agya and follow the righteous path, you recite Sri Japji Sahib. If you want to be liberated at the end of this life, like Govindwal Sahib, you recite Sri Japji Sahib. If you want to become one with the Lord, Brahm Gyanis, if you want to become one while you're living, just like Bhai Lakhuji, you recite Sri Japji Sahib. And if you want to follow a path, because Guru Sahib Ji has given us the Khalsa Panth, they've made us saint soldiers. If you want to be a soldier, again you recite Sri Japji Sahib. Bhai Mati Das Ji was a Nitnemi again of Sri Japji Sahib. They recited this bani over and over. And when it came to their time, Aurangzeb brought them to themselves. We've heard this over the last few days as well, because again, like I mentioned, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Shahidi was just in the previous week. Bhai Mati Das Ji was offered land. He was offered sharab and tobacco. He was saying, take this sharab and tobacco, cut your hair, and I will save you from torture. You can marry my daughter. You can marry anybody. And Bhai Mati Das Ji laughed. And Aurangzeb thought that they're laughing because they're getting excited that they're going to be saved. But Bhai Mati Das Ji recited that I'm a Gursikh of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. Whatever you offer me, I'm not going to take. I will give whatever. Sir jave ta jave mera Sikhi sidak na jave. I'll give whatever, but I'm not going to give my Gursikhi. And Bhai Mati Das Ji was ordered, the fatwa was given that they would be sawn in half. Bhai Mati Das Ji's last request was that they face Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji when they are to be given their Shahidi. They did Beinti just like any Gursikh does. Be Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, protect me when this is happening so I stay strong with Gursikhi. And Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji said, Bhai Mati Das Ji, because they showed their humbleness and they pointed towards Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, whose coming we are celebrating today. And they pointed to Sri Japji Sahib Ji. They said, Bhai Mati Das Ji, you are a Nitnemi of Sri Japji Sahib. You don't need me to protect you. That's the humbleness of the 9th Master, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. You're a Nitnemi of Sri Japji Sahib, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji will protect you. So when Bhai Mati Das Ji went and was tied up to be sawn alive, he looked and he said, make sure this saw is sharp. Because what I don't want is a blunt saw sawing me to say, and if it doesn't happen, that you say, but Bhai Mati Das ji, dol gaya si, or something happened. Make sure it's sharp, and make sure you cut me completely in half. And while you make this sharp, I will make my mind sharp. And Sri Bhai Mati Das ji started reciting Sri Japji Sahib. And as we see, and as we remember them in the Ardas, and as we see their pictures, they were sawed from the top, and they were cut in 2 pieces. But they started Ik Oankar Sat Nam Karta Purkh, and they carried on, and they only reached Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan. That's not even halfway through Sri Japji Sahib when they were cut into 2 pieces. But the amazing thing was, they didn't feel any pain. They didn't feel any pain. They didn't cry. They didn't shout out. They continued reciting Sri Japji Sahib, and even the 2 parts of their body laid side by side, once it's been cut, from Panch Parvan, Panch Pradhan, Panche Paveh Dargah Man, continued, their 2 bodies continued separately reciting Sri Japji Sahib. Panch Parvan, Panch actually means, the first translation of Panch means pure. Parvan means they're Parvan hoge, that they're accepted. Pradhan, Panch Pradhan means the pure, and then Pradhan, they are the highest of the high, they are number 1. Panche Paveh Dargah Man, they are exalted and they attain oneness with the Lord. So it was a pertinent part of Sri Japji Sahib that they reach when they're split into 2 pieces and their bodies reciting. Because Bhai Mati Das ji were the pure, they were Brahmgyanis, they were complete Gursikhs, they were reciters of Sri Japji Sahib. And their body continued to recite Sri Japji Sahib until Sulok Pavan Guru Pani Pita and Jinni Naam Te Aaya Gaye Masakat Kaal Nanak Te Mukhujle Keti Shuti Naal. Their 2 parts of their body continue to recite Sri Japji Sahib. And we say in this day and age that we don't need to recite Gurbani anymore. We just need to read a translation and understand it and question. So the 2 things that have happened over all these years, false prophets who lead us astray from Guru Sahib Ji and join us with themselves, we need to be aware of them. And then scholars who have done research so much into Gurbani that actually they've questioned Gurbani themselves, because they've treated Guru Granth Sahib Ji as a text and not as a living jot. Even Sri Japji Sahib says, Jeko Katha ta Antana Ant. That even if you try to describe Sri Japji Sahib and Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, that Jeko Katha ta Antana, you won't find an end. Antana, no end to the description, the translation, the research, how deep you go, you won't find an end. And in fact, that Antana, Ant, the final Ant is Tera Ant ho juga, but you won't find an Ant. You won't find a limit to Guru Sahib Ji, but you will be finished before you even get so far. So the 2 dangerous people, the false prophets and the scholars who treat Guru Sahib Ji and question Guru Sahib Ji, we need to worry about them and keep them away, because we don't need to go to any person, people like myself, who come on these stages. We don't need to go through any of us. We just need to go directly Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji and through Sri Japji Sahib. Even if we go through Sri Japji Sahib, just like those Gursikhs, we will get everything we want, whether it's materialistic wealth, whether it's our children to stay in our Agya, whether it's liberation at the end of this life, whether it's liberation or become one with Vaheguru through this life, and finally whether it's if we want to give a sacrifice, if we want to be saint soldiers, whatever we want to do, Sri Japji Sahib is the way. We don't need to go to anybody else. We can join ourselves with Guru Sahib Ji directly through the Panj Pyare when we give a Naam and we start reciting Sri Japji Sahib. So the continuing of this program, Bhai Tarjinder Singh is going to recite Sri Japji Sahib 1 line by line, and we as a Sadh Sangat are going to repeat after him, because it's important when you recite Sri Japji Sahib, just like Bhai Gopala Ji did, that you recite it purely, correctly, pausing at the right places. So the organisers of this program have set up, first time really in a Gursikh program that this is happening, and they're going to be blessed because they're sharing with the Sadh Sangat the correct recitation of Sri Japji Sahib, line by line, word by word, sound by sound. And as we will learn it, then we can go away from here and we will be able to recite Sri Japji Sahib just like those Gursikhs did, and whatever we want in this life or in the afterlife, we will be given it, because that is the message of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. I'm going to finish very quickly, and I just want to share one more thing from Sri Japji Sahib, because there are many teachings in Sri Japji Sahib and it can take a long time to actually understand the whole meaning. And you might question in your minds, well, I'll recite it, but I won't be able to understand it. So you might have a question in your mind again. And that's another reason why people said you don't need to recite part until you read the translations. But if we read Sri Japji Sahib, one pankti says, Gaviye suniye man rakhiye pao. So they're the different stages of our spirituality. The first stage is Gaviye, to sing, to recite. So even if we don't understand, we just recite and sing. Even if we don't listen and we can't even concentrate on it properly, the first stage is to recite. The second stage is to listen, suniye. Then we have to listen to what we are saying, and even then we don't have to understand it. Guruji is telling us, don't worry. You sing first, you recite first. You might not even be able to concentrate 100%. Just keep singing. The second stage is to listen. You might not understand at this point, but you listen. So whatever you say, make sure it goes into your ears, that you listen to each sound as you're reciting it. Then you have to maniya, you have to believe. At this stage, you need to be able to understand, because you'll only believe in something if you start understanding it. But Guru Sahib Ji says later on in Japji Sahib, Sunaya Sat Santokh Gyan. Sunaya means to listen. As soon as you start listening and letting that Gurbani go into your ears, even if you don't understand it, you let it go in and you concentrate on it. Guru Sahib Ji says, Sunaya, if you listen, Sat Santokh Gyan, you become truthful. Santokh, you get santokh, you be content with what you've got, and you get gyan, you get knowledge. In other words, you get knowledge of the bani that you're reciting. Guru Sahib Ji puts that automatically into you. So don't worry if you don't understand. You first sing, you recite, gaviya, then you listen, then you will start understanding, and then you maniya, you believe. Believe. Start believing in what Guruji is telling us. Because when Guruji tells us, he's telling us for the right reasons. That's why those Guru Sikhs get materialism, get their families looked after, get liberation in this life, and when they sacrifice, they don't feel no pain. They're sorted for all their lives. So when we believe, and the next stage after believing is rakhiya. Rakhiya means when we start believing, we start following the hukam, the order that we're given, we start acting on it. When we act on that hukam, then what do we attain? Man rakhiya, and the last word there is pau. What is pau? Pau means love, the loving form of Vaheguru. In other words, we become one with Vaheguru. Now you might see a different translation to that pankti, but if you go deeply into each line of Sri Japji Sahib, you find deeper translations, and the deeper translation, gaviya. So what we're going to do is, even if we don't understand, we're going to sing and recite following Bhai Tarjinder Singh. We're going to listen, put it into our ears. Ultimately, we believe in it. When we believe in the Gurbani, we will then follow. When we follow, we start acting on the hukam, and when we follow that hukam, we will become one with the loving Lord. Vaheguru gaviya, suniya, man, rakhiya, pau. If we split up each word, there's a different the translation that I've just shared. So don't worry if you don't understand. Don't worry if you forget. Bhai Sahib's told us it's going to be on the channels, and then it'll be on the internet, and you can hear Sri Japji Sahib being recited again and again, so you get it perfect. And when you get it perfect, just like those Guru Sikhs, Bhai Gopala Ji, Bhai Lakhu Ji, Bhai Mati Das Ji, Bhai Subeg Singh Ji, Bhai Shabaj Singh Ji, whatever you want in your life and in the afterlife, you are given it by Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji and Tan Sri Japji Sahib Ji, contained in the form of Akal Purkh, in the form of God on this earth now. Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. We don't need to go anywhere else. We fall at their feet. They give us everything. If I've offended anybody, or if I've said anything wrong, I beg for forgiveness. You, the Sadh Sangat, can bless me so I can continue sharing the teachings of our Guru. You can bless. I pray to Guru Sahib Ji that he blesses us all with Gur Sikhi, and blesses us that we follow his path and only his path, and we adjoin with only them. Because once we've adjoined with only them, then we will attain eternal peace while we're living. If we attain eternal peace while we're living, our lives and our afterlives, they're completely sorted. Deho sajan asishdiyan jo hove sahib sumel lekha katha na shutiya khen khen bhulan har baksan har baksale nanak par utar. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki fateh.